Beloved, there are moments in life when heaven begins to look for a person who will dare to believe, not because of what they see, but because of what they know in their spirit. I came to tell you, this metaphysical prayer has been looking for you. It has been circling the earth, seeking the one heart, the one voice, the one soul that will say, "Yes, Lord, I receive it." You see, prayer is not just words spoken into the air. Prayer is spirit energy released into the atmosphere. When you pray with faith, you are not begging heaven, you are activating a law of divine correspondence. Your faith becomes the bridge between the invisible and the visible. There is a dimension where everything already exists. Your healing, your breakthrough, your finances, your peace. They are not far away. They are not coming, they already are. But they need a voice, a vessel, a believer, and that believer is you. When you pray today, you are not informing God of your need. You are aligning yourself with His eternal supply. You are entering a metaphysical realm where substance takes form through faith. The scripture says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That means before you ever touch it, it already exists in the realm of faith. When you declare, "It is done," heaven begins to move the molecules of the material world to reflect your confession. Some of you have been praying from lack, but God wants you to pray from abundance. Don't pray as a beggar, pray as a partner. The moment you see yourself as already possessing it, your vibration, your atmosphere, your reality begins to shift. That is why when this prayer finishes, when you say, "Amen," I want you to do something prophetic. Go check your bank account. Not because money magically falls from the sky, but because you must train your faith to expect manifestation. You must look for the evidence of what you have believed. Faith that does not expect is not faith at all. It is only wishful thinking. When you finish this prayer, your action becomes your declaration. Your checking becomes your confession. I believe something has already moved in my favor. Beloved, you are not chasing blessings. Blessings are chasing you. You are not trying to find the miracle. The miracle has been trying to find you. And now, by the law of divine attraction, you and your answered prayer have met. This metaphysical prayer was looking for you, and it has found you. So lift your hands and declare, "I receive what heaven has already released. I align with divine abundance. I am the vessel of answered prayer." Now go ahead, check your bank account when you finish. Not just your financial one, check your spiritual account, your emotional account, your relationship account, and you will find that something has already been deposited by grace. Because faith does not wait for tomorrow. Faith says it is done right now. Prayer is not an act of mere communication. It is the release of divine energy that transcends the boundaries of the natural mind. When a person prays, they are not simply speaking words into empty air, but activating spiritual frequencies that carry intention, emotion, and belief into the higher realms. Every word, when spoken with faith, becomes a carrier of invisible power. That is why the moment you pray with conviction, something begins to shift in the unseen world. You may not feel it immediately, but vibrations are already moving, matter is responding, and spiritual currents are aligning to bring forth what you've declared. Prayer is not a request, it is a transmission. It is the moment when your human spirit connects with the divine spirit, creating a bridge between heaven and earth. When you open your mouth in faith, you are aligning with a universal law of energy that thought, when fused with emotion, becomes a creative force. The metaphysical principle behind prayer is that everything in the universe vibrates at a frequency. Faith-filled words carry higher vibrations that attract corresponding realities. When you pray with doubt, your energy is fragmented and weak. But when you pray with certainty, believing that it is already done, your words become a magnet for manifestation. The energy of heaven recognizes faith and responds to it. That is why prayer must not be empty recitation. It must be charged with awareness that you are laboring with God in creation. Think of prayer as the release of spiritual currency. Just as you spend money to acquire something in the physical world, prayer spends energy to bring forth something from the spiritual realm. But unlike physical currency, this energy is unlimited. It flows from the divine source that never runs dry. When you tap into that source through prayer, you enter a current of power that begins to shape circumstances, people, and opportunities in your favor. It may not happen instantly, but every prayer infused with faith deposits power into the invisible account of your destiny. So when you speak intentionally, because your words do not vanish, they travel. They move through realms, they echo in eternity, and they return carrying what you have believed. Many people think prayer is about convincing God to do something, But in truth, prayer is about aligning yourself with what God has already done. The energy you release in prayer does not change God, it changes you. It brings your spirit into resonance with divine order. When your vibration matches the vibration of divine abundance, you begin to attract blessings that already existed but could not reach you before. Just as a radio cannot receive a station unless tuned to the correct frequency, your spirit cannot receive divine provision until it is tuned through prayer. Every time you pray with faith, you are tuning your inner receiver. You are saying, Lord, I am now ready to receive what has been waiting for me all along. The spiritual energy released in prayer is alive. It has intelligence, direction, and purpose. It knows where to go and what to accomplish. Your role is to send it forth with clarity and confidence. When Jesus spoke to the fig tree, he did not hope it might wither. He knew the power of his words carried life and death. In the same way, when you pray, your words are not passive, they are commands in the spirit. They go forth to rearrange situations, to open doors, to heal bodies, and to manifest resources. Your prayer creates ripples in the unseen that eventually become waves in the seen. This is why it is said that prayer changes things. What it really changes is the vibrational structure of reality itself. The invisible world is far more powerful than the visible one, and prayer gives you access to that domain. When you pray, you step into a realm where thoughts are things and words become matter. You engage a creative principle that has existed since the beginning, let there be. Every time you pray, you echo that same creative command, releasing divine energy into motion. And as that energy flows, it seeks out alignment, it attracts what corresponds to it, and it manifests what you have dared to believe. Faith is the unseen force that activates reality. It is not an emotion, nor is it a moment of positive thinking. It is a spiritual law that governs manifestation. Everything that exists in the physical realm was first birthed in the unseen dimension. Before you ever touch what you desire, it already exists in the realm of faith, waiting for someone bold enough to believe it into visibility. Faith does not create something out of nothing. Faith transfers what already is in the spiritual into the natural. The moment you believe, a transaction begins in the invisible world where substance starts to take form. Faith is the bridge that connects divine intention to human experience. Without faith, even divine promises remain dormant, because faith is the activation code that calls potential into expression. When you understand this, you stop begging and start believing. You no longer approach life as one hoping for miracles, but as one manifesting them through divine law. The unseen world is more real than what you can see or touch. Every miracle, every blessing, every breakthrough exists first as energy, vibration, and possibility. Faith gives it shape. When your heart and words agree with the divine will, the invisible begins to crystallize into the visible. This is why the scripture says faith is the substance of things hoped for. That means faith itself is a tangible energy. It has weight, form, and creative potential. Hope imagines the possibility, but faith brings it into being. In the natural world, people wait to see before they believe. In the spiritual world, you must believe before you see. Believing is seeing. Faith reverses the order of natural logic and operates by divine logic. It says, I have it even if my hands are empty. The physical senses may deny it, but faith does not depend on sight, sound, or touch. It depends on conviction. The person of faith walks as though the answer is already manifested, because in the higher dimension, it truly is. That inner assurance becomes the magnet that draws manifestation into the present. The more consistent your belief, the stronger the pull from the invisible to the visible. Faith works through alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and words agree with divine truth, you create resonance with what already exists in the heavenly storehouse. You don't force manifestation, you align with it. This is the metaphysical principle of correspondence. What is above reflects what is below. What is within reflects what is without. When you carry faith inside, the outer world must eventually conform to that inner vibration. Your belief becomes a mold, shaping the invisible energy of reality into a visible outcome. Doubt, on the other hand, distorts that mold. It sends mixed frequencies, canceling out the creative power of your own prayer. That is why faith must be unwavering, steady, and consistent. Faith is also a language. It speaks things that are not as though they were. It does not ask permission from the senses. It commands the senses to obey spiritual truth. When you say, I am blessed, you are not describing your current state, you are declaring your eternal reality. Every word of faith carries creative authority, because words are vehicles of spirit. They contain energy that shapes the quantum fabric of the world around you. When you speak in faith, you are giving form to the formless. Just as the Creator spoke light into darkness, faith makes you a participant in that same divine process. The moment you believe, creation begins to move. People are positioned, doors begin to open, resources start to shift, all orchestrated by the unseen hand of divine intelligence responding to your faith vibration. You may not see immediate results, but reality is already rearranging itself. Faith does not operate by time, it operates by alignment. When your inner world and God's promises become one, manifestation becomes inevitable. The invisible responds to conviction the way a shadow responds to light. It must appear. That is why every act of faith is a creative act. You are not waiting for your reality to change. Your faith is changing it even now. To pray from abundance is to step into the reality that all things are already complete in the divine realm. It means understanding that you are not trying to get something from God, but awakening to what God has already placed within and around you. When you pray as one who lacks, your words carry the vibration of emptiness. They tell the universe that something is missing, and the universe responds by reflecting that sense of incompleteness back to you. But when you pray as one who already has, your words release the energy of gratitude, confidence, and alignment. That energy magnetizes more of what you believe you already possess. True prayer is not about asking, it is about aligning with abundance. Abundance is not measured only in material wealth. It is a state of consciousness, a spiritual posture that sees provision everywhere. When you operate from abundance, you recognize that God is not limited by economy, circumstance, or human logic. The same source that feeds the birds and clothes the flowers is more than capable of providing for you. You no longer see prayer as a desperate plea for help, but as a joyful partnership with an inexhaustible source. You become aware that everything you need already exists in the unseen, waiting for you to acknowledge it through faith. The difference between lack and abundance is not the amount of resources, it is the awareness of their availability. Praying from abundance means shifting your inner identity. You no longer approach God as a beggar knocking at the door, but as a child returning home. You speak not as one pleading for mercy, but as one declaring inheritance. The words of lack say, Lord, please give me, but the words of abundance say, Lord, I thank you that it is already mine. This shift may seem small, but it changes everything. Gratitude opens the gate that pleading keeps closed. The prayer of abundance is always filled with thanksgiving, even before results appear. Because faith knows that manifestation is only a matter of alignment, not chance. When you pray from lack, your energy contracts, fear and uncertainty dominate your words. But when you pray from abundance, your energy expands, love, joy, and confidence fill the atmosphere. This is not psychological optimism, it is spiritual law. The frequency you emit determines the reality you attract. If you pray believing that you are empty, you reinforce that emptiness. If you pray believing that you are already supplied, you activate the law of attraction in the divine realm, pulling visible blessings into your life. Faith is the key that unlocks this law, and gratitude is the language that sustains it. To pray from abundance is to mirror the mind of God. God does not operate from scarcity. He never wonders if there will be enough. His nature is overflow. When you pray with that same nature, you create resonance with divine supply. You are not manipulating God to give you something new. You are simply harmonizing your spirit with what has always existed. In that harmony, things begin to move effortlessly. Opportunities open, ideas flow, people appear at the right time, and what once seemed impossible becomes normal. The shift is not in God's willingness, but in your awareness. Abundant prayer also transforms how you see others. When you know that your source is unlimited, envy and competition disappear. You can celebrate another person's success without fear of losing your own blessing, because you understand that the fountain never runs dry. You become a channel, not a container, of divine supply. The more you give, the more flows through you, because abundance multiplies in circulation. Prayer from abundance makes you generous, joyful, and fearless. Every time you enter prayer, ask yourself, am I speaking from lack or from fullness? Am I asking as one who doubts or declaring as one who knows? The words may sound similar, but the energy behind them determines the outcome. The beggar prays to receive, the believer prays to release. One is driven by fear, the other by faith. When you pray from abundance, you stop striving and start resting in divine sufficiency. You know that everything you need is already in motion, already done, already yours in spirit, waiting for your awareness to call it forth. Expectation is the heartbeat of faith. It is the inner conviction that something unseen is already unfolding in your favor. When you pray, it is not enough to speak words or even to believe in principle. You must expect a tangible result. Expectation gives life to prayer. It transforms faith from a concept into a force. Many people pray with hope, but without expectation. Hope looks forward to the future, but expectation pulls that future into the present. Expectation says, it is not only possible, it is already on its way. Without it, faith becomes passive, but with it, faith becomes a living magnet that draws manifestation into reality. Expectation is not wishful thinking. It is a confident assurance grounded in spiritual law. When you truly expect something, your whole being aligns with it. Your thoughts, emotions, and even your body begin to act as if it has already occurred. You walk differently, you speak differently, and you carry yourself with quiet certainty. This shift in posture is what opens the door for divine manifestation. Expectation creates a vibrational field that attracts the outcome it anticipates. Just as a seed naturally grows toward the light, your faith grows toward the manifestation of your expectation. The moment you pray with expectation, the universe begins to rearrange circumstances to match what you have believed. Faith without expectation is like a lamp without oil. It has the form of power but no flame. Expectation is the oil that keeps your faith burning. When you pray and then continue to act as if nothing will happen, you are contradicting your own words. True expectation requires action. It is expressed in preparation. If you pray for rain, carry an umbrella. If you pray for opportunity, prepare your skills. If you pray for provision, make room to receive it. Expectation demonstrates to heaven that you are ready for what you have asked for. God responds not to empty requests, but to prepared vessels. Expectation also transforms the atmosphere around you. When you expect good things, you emit a frequency of joy, gratitude, and confidence. This energy influences your surroundings, draws people toward you, and creates divine connections. The law of attraction operates strongly through expectation. You attract what you truly expect, not what you merely desire. Many people desire success but secretly expect disappointment, and the universe mirrors their hidden beliefs. Expectation reveals the true condition of the heart. When you expect the best, you are declaring to creation that you trust the goodness of your source. Expectation is not arrogance, it is agreement. It is saying yes to what God has already promised. When you expect healing, abundance, or breakthrough, you are not demanding from heaven, you are aligning yourself with divine intention. The Creator has already decreed blessing, but it requires the receiver's expectation to bring it into visibility. That is why Jesus often asked those seeking miracles, do you believe? Belief without expectation is incomplete. It must move from mental assent to inner certainty. When you expect, you create space for divine power to fill. The unexpectant heart leaves no room for miracles. Even the smallest act of expectation carries power. When you finish praying and check your bank account, your email, or your door, it is not because you doubt, it is because you are training your faith to expect manifestation. You are saying to your subconscious, something is happening now. That physical act anchors your belief in reality. Expectation requires movement. It invites you to participate in your miracle. Each step of faith releases a corresponding reaction in the unseen. Expectation is a declaration of trust. It says, I believe so deeply that I am already preparing for the result. It turns prayer into prophecy. The moment you expect, heaven recognizes that you have taken possession in spirit. Then the process of manifestation accelerates, often in ways beyond logic or reason. The mind may not understand it, but the heart that expects does not need proof. It already knows that what has been believed is now becoming visible. The law of divine alignment is the principle that governs the flow of blessings between heaven and earth. It is the spiritual reality that everything in creation functions according to order, harmony, and resonance. When your life comes into alignment with the rhythm of the divine, blessings that once seemed delayed begin to move freely toward you. Alignment means your inner world, your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are synchronized with God's truth. It is not about striving or forcing outcomes, but about positioning yourself where the current of grace can reach you. Just as a ship cannot catch the wind if its sails are down, your spirit cannot receive if it is not aligned. The divine flow is constant, but it requires the right positioning to be experienced. Divine alignment begins internally. Every thought you entertain carries a frequency. When those frequencies match divine intention, faith, love, gratitude, peace, you attract experiences that reflect that same vibration. But when your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, or resentment, you fall out of alignment and the flow of blessings becomes obstructed. The universe is not withholding from you, it is responding to your inner state. That is why the transformation must begin within. The more your inner atmosphere reflects heaven's harmony, the more heaven can reflect that harmony back into your circumstances. Being in alignment means walking in agreement with the nature of God. The Creator is abundance, not scarcity, love, not fear, peace, not chaos. To align with Him is to mirror those attributes in your daily life. When you think like heaven, you draw heaven's results. Prayer and meditation are tools that bring the mind and spirit into that alignment. They cleanse you of limiting thoughts and realign you with divine truth. Every moment of surrender, every act of trust brings you closer to perfect resonance with divine will. And in that resonance, what you have been chasing begins to chase you. When you are out of alignment, you experience resistance. Things feel difficult, delayed, or confusing. It is not that God has turned away, it is that your frequency no longer matches His flow. Imagine a radio trying to tune into a station. The broadcast is constant, but you must adjust the dial to hear it clearly. The same is true with divine communication. The moment you retune through faith and gratitude, the static fades and clarity returns. Alignment restores the signal of abundance that was never truly lost, only unheard. Divine alignment also extends to action. You cannot pray for one thing and act in contradiction to it. Faith without corresponding action is misalignment. If you believe you are blessed, your actions should reflect confidence, generosity, and peace. If you believe you are healed, your behavior should mirror health and vitality. When your actions harmonize with your belief, manifestation becomes inevitable. The spiritual and physical worlds meet through congruence, what is within and what is without moving as one. Alignment transforms faith into fruit. There are also times when alignment requires letting go. Some relationships, habits, or environments carry frequencies that conflict with your divine vibration. Holding on to them keeps you out of sync with the flow of blessing. When you release what no longer resonates with your destiny, you make space for what truly belongs. The divine cannot fill a vessel that is already full of noise, fear, and attachment. Surrender is not loss, it is alignment. It is the act of saying, I trust the flow of heaven more than my own control. The beauty of divine alignment is that once you step into it, everything begins to move with ease. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer struggle, you flow. Synchronicities appear, opportunities unfold naturally, and peace becomes the compass of your journey. Life ceases to feel like resistance and begins to feel like rhythm. You sense when to move, when to wait, and when to speak, because your inner world beats in harmony with divine timing. This is the secret of answered prayer, not striving, but aligning. When your will, your word, and your walk resonate with heaven's vibration, blessings that were once distant become inevitable realities. Manifestation begins within, long before anything appears in the physical world. Everything you see around you is first conceived as an idea, an image, a vibration in the unseen. The inner world is the blueprint of the outer world. Your thoughts, emotions, and words are not passive. They are creative instruments constantly shaping reality. When you learn to master your inner atmosphere, you gain authority over your external circumstances. Many people try to change their lives by manipulating outer conditions. But true transformation starts in consciousness. What you hold consistently in your mind and heart will eventually solidify into form, because energy follows attention and matter obeys spirit. The principle is simple yet profound. What you believe internally becomes what you experience externally. Your mind is the workshop of creation. Every belief is a seed, and every thought nourishes or withers that seed. When you dwell on lack, fear, and limitation, you plant seeds that produce those exact conditions. But when you dwell on abundance, peace, and divine sufficiency, you activate creative power that brings those realities into expression. The universe is neutral, it mirrors what you project. Whatever image dominates your inner space becomes the pattern from which your life is woven. This is why renewing the mind is one of the most powerful spiritual disciplines. It is not about pretending problems don't exist. It is about choosing to focus on the higher truth until that truth becomes visible. Words are the tools that give shape to inner belief. They are the vehicles through which invisible intention takes form. When you speak, you are not simply describing your life, you are designing it. Every declaration of faith is a spiritual command that sets creative energy in motion. The more conviction behind your words, the stronger the force they carry. That is why you must be careful with what you say about yourself, your health, and your future. If you continually speak lack, you align with lack. But when you speak abundance, even before you see it, you are sending a signal to the universe that says, I am ready for manifestation. Your words are like arrows released into the unseen, and they never miss their target. Emotions are also part of this creative process. They are not mere reactions, they are energy in motion. When you feel joy, gratitude, or love, you emit vibrations that attract similar experiences. When you feel fear or anger, you attract circumstances that reflect those emotions. Manifestation is accelerated when your feelings and beliefs agree. You cannot say, "I am blessed," while feeling unworthy and expect consistent results. The inner and outer worlds must resonate. This harmony of belief and emotion creates magnetic power. That is why gratitude is one of the highest frequencies you can hold. It signals that you already possess what you desire, and the universe rushes to confirm that truth in your experience. Visualization is another expression of inner manifestation. When you vividly see your desired reality within your mind, your subconscious begins to accept it as truth. The brain does not distinguish between imagined and real experience. It simply responds to whatever image is most dominant. When you consistently visualize success, peace, or provision, you condition your inner world to receive it. Over time, outer events start aligning with those inner images. This is not fantasy, it is divine law. The seen is always the echo of the unseen. Manifestation begins within because the inner world governs the flow of divine energy. The spirit within you is the creative force of the universe. When your inner state aligns with divine principles, faith, gratitude, love, peace, you become a clear channel through which the power of creation flows unhindered. The moment you align your thoughts and emotions with divine truth, external reality begins to reorganize itself around your vibration. Circumstances, people, and opportunities move to match your inner picture. The world outside bends to the conviction inside. What you hold firmly in consciousness long enough will eventually crystallize in your environment. The invisible shapes the visible, and your inner world is the workshop of miracles. Beloved, what you have heard today is not just a message, it is a spiritual invitation. You were not drawn to these words by chance. Something in your spirit recognized the frequency of truth. This metaphysical prayer was looking for you because heaven knew that you were ready to step into a higher consciousness of faith, abundance, and alignment. You are no longer standing outside of the blessing, looking in. You are now inside the flow, living from the awareness that everything you desire already exists in the unseen realm. You are no longer begging for miracles, you are embodying them. When you leave this moment of reflection, carry the revelation with you that faith is not waiting for something to happen, it is knowing that something already has. Every time you pray, speak as though heaven has already delivered the answer. Walk like one who has already received. Speak like one who knows the promise is secure. Let your life become a testimony of divine manifestation. From this day forward, do not measure your circumstances by what your eyes see, but by what your spirit knows. Every word of faith you speak releases energy into the universe that cannot return void. It must accomplish what it was sent to do. You are not here to survive. You are here to expand, to create, to reflect the abundance of the one who made you. The universe responds to your vibration, and when that vibration is rooted in faith and gratitude, all creation conspires to bless you. So hold your head high, not in pride, but in divine confidence. You are a vessel of answered prayer, a co-creator with the infinite, and every good thing that belongs to you is finding its way to you even now. Before you go, remember this simple but powerful act of faith. When you finish your prayer, check your bank account, not only the one that holds your money, but the account of your heart, your mind, and your spirit. You will find that heaven has already made a deposit. Something has shifted, and from this moment forward, nothing will remain the same. Now, as we close, peace that surpasses all understanding. I speak abundance that overflows beyond your needs. I speak clarity, favor, and divine timing over every step you take. May your inner world remain full, your outer world reflect that fullness, and may every prayer you release return as visible blessing. Thank you for sharing this sacred moment of reflection and revelation. Thank you for opening your heart to truth and for daring to believe beyond the limits of sight. May your faith continue to grow, may your expectation remain alive, and may your alignment with the divine become stronger with each passing day. Go forth in joy, walk in abundance, and live as one who knows that heaven has already said yes. Thank you, beloved. God bless you richly.